Have you ever danced with a knife? If I were a Persian bridesmaid, I would definitely dance like this at a wedding. The Persian knife dance is a wedding tradition that dates back many centuries, a playful ritual rooted in ancient Persian customs. I'm happy to introduce you Nilu.
The Sofreh Aghd is the central element of the Persian wedding ceremony. Each item has a meaning and a well-wish that we want for the couple. Needle and thread, you symbolically bring it together. The bride traditionally is not supposed to answer this question. Not the first time and not the second time, but the third time. They started singing on their own, loudly dancing. Be authentic to yourself, to your roots, to your identity, to your heritage. It ended up to be a very memorable event. The girlfriends in the audience, they yell out, "Kate has gone to pick flowers."
Welcome to the Wed Art channel by Dreamwood Films, a space dedicated to help couples craft the celebration they've been dreaming of. Today, I'm meeting with the founder of the Nilu Weddings, a specialist in Persian weddings. I'm happy to introduce you Nilu, the founder of Nilu Weddings.
Thank you. Hi.
What is interesting about Nilu is she's working not only as a wedding planner, but also as a wedding officiant. So, Nilu, can you tell me what came first, wedding planning or being an officiant?
That's a very good question. The first time I officiated a ceremony was at the request of my cousin, who was marrying an American gentleman, and she wanted something different, a script and a ceremony that reflected the two of them, that was more heartfelt and personal. So together we wrote a script and we formed the structure of the ceremony, and that was the first time I ever officiated a wedding ceremony. That was in 2008.
2008. So you already was working as a wedding planner, right?
So that was the first time, my first experience working professionally with a wedding. So it was as an officiant. And then in 2015, I started also designing the Sofreh Aghd, which is the Persian wedding ceremony spread. And then from that, moved on to planning weddings, full events.
Sofreh Aghd. If I'm pronouncing correctly, Sofreh. Yeah. That's so amazing. Maybe you can share with us what is popular at the moment, how we should decorate our Sofreh if I'm a contemporary bride and I want to use trends.
Yes, very good. So I'll just say for your viewers, for those that are maybe not familiar with the Sofreh, the Sofreh Aghd is the central element of the Persian wedding ceremony. It's essentially a beautiful, very elaborate spread that holds items that are very symbolic. Each item has a meaning and a well-wish that we want for the couple in their marriage. So there is a mirror that's, for reflection and contemplation. There are candles that point to divinity and a bright future. There are a lot of items that symbolize fertility, like decorated eggs. There are walnuts and almonds and shells. Those, are in the hopes that the couple will have many children. There are a lot of sweet items like crystallized sugar and honey, and those are, we hope that the couple's marriage will be sweet. So all of these items are on the spread, and there are rituals that are associated with some of these items, and we can go through those later. But as far as blending in the tradition with the modern and perhaps bringing in some trendy elements, I think a lot of couples now are leaning towards being respectful and highlighting their heritage, but in a way that doesn't feel so formal and maybe heavy. So the way to do that is in the structure of the Sofreh, as well as the ceremony, how the ceremony flow works, in the layout of the ceremony itself, and also by bringing in some more personal and emotional elements to the ceremony. And, they do that by writing their own vows and sharing emotional stories. So I think in this sense, you can bring in some more modernity to a traditional element and also make it more, in a way, it's more elegant and easier for guests to connect with.
How interesting. I really like it. I would like to put the Sofreh in my wedding because I really like this tradition. But can you give us some examples about like what item the bride decided to put to Sofreh and that was unusual? Can you give just an example?
Yes.
We are going to learn so many interesting things today, and brides will get lots of valuable tips for planning their wedding. It's going to be exciting. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and get inspired with us.
So I always tell my couples, and most of the couples I work with are mixed couples, so one is Persian and one is not Persian. Maybe, one is American or Irish or Chinese or Native American or Indian. So, and we want to highlight and celebrate the aspects from both sides. And the Sofreh, what's nice about it is that it always, allows room for an object or an item that represents the other culture to be displayed on the spread. So, for example, for a Chinese Persian wedding, we've had a tea ceremony with the full tea setup placed on the Sofreh, but it was a Chinese tea setup. We use that during the ceremony, to respect that culture. There are other items that the couple chooses to place, and also depending on where the family is from within Iran or their cultural or religious backgrounds, there are some elements that get added to the Sofreh. For example, one of my favorites is Persians who are Zoroastrians. This is a very ancient religion in Iran. They place a pair of scissors, a very elaborate and decorative pair of scissors on the Sofreh. And what that symbolizes is if during the couple's marriage there's ever a blockage that they're sensing, there's a problem that they're having, this scissor symbolically opens the way for them. Another item that they place on the Sofreh is needle and thread. And this is for if there's any, distance that's forming between the couple during their marriage, you symbolically bring it together with the needle and thread. So you bring them together. So every item has that kind of symbolism and meaning. It's really beautiful. I'd love for you to have a Persian wedding. Yes.
Oh, but my wedding was 13 years ago. Yeah, so
we can do a renew one, renew.
Yeah, renew. Yeah,
you can sit at this
and celebrate.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great tradition.
I have to tell you about a couple of rituals that are also central to the Persian ceremony. So the main one is when we want to get the consent from the couple, when the question is asked and the bride and groom answer with "I do." In the Persian ceremony, the groom answers this question the first time he's asked, but the bride traditionally is not supposed to answer this question. Not the first time and not the second time, but the third time. So the officiant keeps asking the question, and each time the bride is silent. So when they say, "Kate, do you take, Alex as your lawfully wedded husband?" You're not supposed to say anything. And then the girlfriends in the audience, they yell out, "Kate has gone to pick flowers," or "Kate has gone to bring rose water." And this tradition to this day is held, and maybe 99% of my brides keep this tradition. It brings a very beautiful, light-hearted aspect to the ceremony. It's interactive. It's very fun. And, the tradition comes from giving that respect to the bride to really consider this decision that she's taking, this step that she's taking. It's kind of a symbolic way of saying, this is a very important decision. I want to be intentional about it. And that's why that pause happens. And we do it in a playful way. And, the groom is kind of like, whoa, I hope she said yes.
Yeah, but how smart. You need to think twice.
Yes.
And then answer.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. And then after the bride gives her consent, this is the most important part of the Persian ceremony, is when the bride says, "I do," or "yes." After that, the couple will share a taste of honey. There's a honey dish on the Sofreh, and they use their pinky finger to share a taste of the honey. They put it in each other's mouths. And that's, again, to also add another touch of sweetness to their marriage.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I also have one extra question that was not in the list of my official questions, but I was watching TikTok, yes, and I found a very fun video. Can I show it to you?
Yes.
And maybe you can say, is that true? Because I was overwhelmed. Okay, I will show you TikTok.
Let's see it.
Wedding tradition that is unique to your culture. Some Iranian
I follow it. I like it. So, Persian families do provide, especially the bride side provides many pieces of furniture and kitchenware, household wear for the couple when they go first into their new home. I mean, this was traditional. Nowadays couples are maybe living together already. They've already made their home. They have everything they need. But traditionally, there was the responsibility of the parents of the bride to provide all of the household items. The groom's family, in Persian tradition, it's actually the groom's family that covers all the cost of the wedding. It's the opposite of in the US, where the bride's family is responsible for the cost of the wedding. So in Iran, groom's family would cover the cost of the wedding. Bride's family would provide, the pieces for their household. So what happened was a couple days after the wedding, the close family went to the couple's home, the bride and groom's home, and they would show them, this is our kitchen, these are all the dishes that we have, or this is our dishwasher, this is our, television or sofa. So there was a kind of a formal viewing during a gathering to see these items that they were given. But this is very old tradition. It didn't happen for my wedding, and I've never seen it myself, but, it was something that happened, yeah.
So it means that is true, but that was made
making a fun of it.
A fun video, a fun way. So nobody is visiting the house at 3 a.m., right?
Of course. No.
What bathroom.
No.
Yeah, but the whole tradition exists.
Yes. Yeah. It's a way to support the couple, in the beginning of their journey, set them up with their life. And again, not so much nowadays, because many couples are already independent, financially stable.
Thank you for clarifying. Because I was like, is that true? What's going on? Is that true?
And also, it is partly true that this happens. They buy stuff, they go to their home to see it. But this is a little bit coming outside of the Persian wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
Or the wedding itself, right? We're kind of focusing on the event, I think, more, and all the rituals in the event. Anyway, go ahead.
So, Nilu, can you tell us also about dancing with a knife?
Oh.
Yeah, can you tell about this tradition?
You've heard that one.
Yeah.
So this is during the reception. And right before the couple is supposed to cut the cake, the knife that the cake will be cut with is passed around amongst several, usually female friends, maybe the bridesmaids of the couple. And they dance with this knife in a playful way and in a way where they take it close to the groom. And as soon as the groom tries to take the knife to cut the cake, they pull away. So it's this playful dance of, showing it to him but not giving him the knife. And it passes around maybe through 4, 5, 6 ladies. It's a very fun and festive part of the ceremony, very playful. Some grooms will give money to get this knife or throw money at these dancers just to try to get the knife. And sometimes the bride gets involved, she will come close and try to reach for the knife. And eventually they get the knife and they can cut the cake with that.
Right now, you are seeing some incredible moments from Persian weddings captured by our Dream with Films team. And if you are still searching for a dream photo and video team, that's exactly what we do. We deeply respect traditions and know how to turn every moment of your celebration into a cinematic story you will relive for years. Click the link below to claim your free engagement session with us. Anywhere in the world or in the United States is the perfect way to get to know each other and see just how amazing your wedding day can look like. Wow, that's a great tradition.
Yeah.
Is this popular nowadays?
I have to say, now it is even more popular than before. In almost all of the weddings that I'm working and planning, I noticed that they love to have this tradition. And it's, it's a very unique and interesting ritual to do. So the non-Persian guests also like it and they get excited about it.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining. Yeah. Nilu, and can you tell me how you stay flexible, maybe calm and active while everything is going wrong?
I've learned in this business that, of course, you try to do everything perfect. You plan for everything, you have the right vendors working these events, you trust in them, and the couple has hopefully trusted you with everything. So everything is set and you have an expectation that everything will go as planned, but you always have to keep in mind that everything will not go as planned. And so because of that, we have, always a plan B, possibly a plan C, especially in places that are more unpredictable as far as the weather, access. I've had weddings where we didn't expect this, but the day before there was a downpour. So everything had to either get tented or moved indoors if we had that option. And also it's important to communicate with your couple in advance that, if things don't go the way they planned, or if something is, in a way that we have to make a final decision at the very last minute, you want to give them that heads up to prepare them and always, be in communication with them throughout. So there are no surprises, they're not upset at anything. But overall, staying flexible, once you're familiar with a venue, then you can think about different options, different ways to structure the ceremony specifically. That's what I'm thinking about right now. For example, a Persian sofreh traditionally was always placed on a flat surface, and the couple sat in front of that. But nowadays, and many times, depending on the venue that we use, we kind of try to blend it into the setting. So maybe we have the items on the sofreh in different levels or on risers, or they're displayed even vertically on a shelf, or if there's a garden or there's some natural elements, then we use those to incorporate into the sofreh to kind of bring in, to meld everything into one cohesive, setting. Of course, with the approval of the bride and, the groom and their families. Yeah, flexibility is key in this work.
Do you stay calm when, something is going wrong?
I have a calm demeanor.
Yeah, because I see your energy is very calm, and I'm it seems Nilu stays calm.
Inside is like this, but I think, again, with experience, confidence comes, and with age, you kind of know that things will eventually work out, and you have to trust in the universe that things will work out in the way that they're meant to. Every day when I start out to go to a wedding, or right before every ceremony, I pause and I just remind myself that this is, about this couple. It's their day, it's their celebration. I will do everything in my power to make sure that everybody, has an enjoyable and memorable time. But, by the time you get to the day of the wedding, you have so many people there working towards that. You have amazing vendors, so that confidence is there. You're in good hands, and you just kind of go with that. And there's no reason to not stay calm. But usually the calm comes sort of after the cocktail hour, when everybody goes into the reception and most of the day has gone perfectly well, and now it's time to party.
And what if everything was settled down outside, right? And we were expecting sunlight and beautiful weather, and then a rain, a storm. How that happened in your experience now?
So luckily, a lot of the times you can plan a little bit ahead, even for something like that. At least even a few hours. You will know 5 hours prior to that if it's going to rain. Within 5 hours. So, you have umbrellas, for example, for the ceremony, or you have to come up with a contingency plan, bring everything indoors. Tenting, of course, takes a lot more time and personnel, so tenting has to happen well in advance of any kind of rain situation. It's important to communicate all of this with the couple prior to that and let them know that, find out what their intentions are, what their wishes are, but also let them know realistically, what if something like this happened and what do we have to do? One time I had a wedding, we were in the reception, everybody was having dinner in a huge country club, ballroom, clubhouse, beautiful lighting, music. It was just going fantastic, wonderfully. All of a sudden, the entire power to the building went down, shut off. So everything went dark. Luckily, we did have candles everywhere, so it was still beautiful, but there was no music. Music got shut off completely. And we found out there was no generator, there was no personnel within the building to help us and, with what was going on. So we had to come up with something right off the cue, The DJ, myself, the couple was just like going crazy. So what we ended, and we had a great, guests. I mean, the guests were amazing. So the guests came up, they started singing on their own, loudly dancing. Someone found a karaoke machine in their trunk that had 2 hours battery. So we brought that in. And then we had some light, playful light things that we gave those to all the guests. So they were dancing, some karaoke. We did have a percussionist that was acoustic. So he played along. So we carried the party for at least 2 hours. But the cake cutting was, in like candlelight. It ended up to be a very memorable event. The couple were initially distraught, but once they found out that there was nothing we could do that night, they carried on and they, continued their party. And then, of course, later on the week, we went back to the venue and we had all of our issues. But you just have to be flexible and make the best of it. That was a disastrous situation.
Yeah.
But
it's so great, in every situation to know what you can use and just play around and continue the celebration, right?
Yeah, people are there to party, dancing.
I would like to ask about trance because our brides, they like trance. And what do you think, which trance are really interesting this season?
For me, and because of the work that I'm in, the most important trend is blending in the tradition and the formal with more of a modern and elegant feel so that it doesn't feel so heavy. Because Persian, especially Persian wedding ceremonies, they're full of ritual. There's a lot of readings, poetry. So I think a very important trend is to bring all of this into a modern space, into a, today's space, in a way that still respects that tradition and the roots and the heritage, but is, it resonates with even non-Persian guests. It creates a connection with them. I think what's trendy now is anything that creates more connectivity, bringing people more together in a meaningful way.
Shutting down the light helps to bring people together.
Very good, yeah. So it's not about, what are the colors or the flowers. Those things are personal too in a way. But I think the key is to remember that, to be authentic to yourself, to your roots, to your identity, to your heritage, but also, try to present it in a way that draws everyone else in.
And maybe you can tell us, how do you help couples navigate language or cultural differences during a multicultural ceremony?
Yes. So, it helps with the tone that you set. In the beginning, after interviewing the couple, I have an idea of what sort of couple they are, what sort of ceremony they have in mind, what do they want their guests to take away. So that helps you set a tone, that's, again, that's reflective and that brings the couple together with their guests together. Also, we do use a lot of poetry throughout the Persian ceremonies. We have, incredible poetry in our history and heritage, and some of it has been translated very well into English. But the way I think to use the poetry is never to read an entire poem during the ceremony. Sometimes not all of the language is beautiful and melodic, or not all of the imagery is, appropriate for a wedding or union. So I only use 2 lines of poetry, 1 line here, 3 lines there. And I use, maybe from 5 or 6 different poets, but very brief snippets of their poetry through the ceremony. And then I don't translate the poetry word for word. I weave that into something that I say about the couple, something that's emotional or storytelling. I think that helps to not make the ceremony too formal and too heavy, just keep it more uplifted and, try to connect everyone with it. Yeah, there's some beautiful poetry. Can I share?
Yeah, of course.
So this is an English piece that's been translated by a 14th century Persian poet, Molavi or Jalaluddin Rumi. In the West, he's known as Rumi. And he says, "The moment I heard my first love story, I began seeking you, not realizing the search was useless. Lovers don't meet somewhere along the way. They are in one another's souls from the very beginning." So I think this really speaks to the fact, is it destiny? A lot of people that come together, I think it's, of course, destiny. And this speaks to the fact that, I've been looking for my partner all my life, and it's not a matter of meeting somewhere. We've always been entwined, together. So in Persian, many of these poems are, much more melodic. The melody is very beautiful. I don't know if should I share a short one now in Persian?
Yeah, of course.
You can choose not to.
Yeah, of course.
This one is by Hafiz. Hafiz is a 14th century poet and mystic he's from the city of Shiraz, Iran. And, we believe that his words are divinely inspired. I always begin with his words, which says, "Az sedای سخن عشق ندیدم خوشتر یادگاری که در این گنبد دوار بماند," which means I've never heard of a more beautiful melody than the words of love, a token that lingers in this revolving sphere. So this is how I kind of use the poetry, a little bit here, a little bit there, and then weave it into the script.
And that helps to build like a deep feeling, right?
Yes, yeah. Also, another way to bring people together and create that depth. In the beginning of the ceremonies, I will have a moment of pause for everyone, where I ask everyone to please consider closing your eyes, taking a deep breath, and conjuring up the most beautiful sentiments and wishes for the couple and send that energy to them. So this is just a moment to bring everyone together in the moment before we begin.
How interesting. Yeah. Is that a Persian tradition or you just decided to implement this?
Yeah.
This from some spiritual practices, energy practices.
The Persian ceremony itself is completely non-religious. Everything points to nature and poetry and love and beauty. And then depending on the religion of the families, you may find a holy book on the sofreh. Sometimes it's, maybe even a Bible or a Quran or the Torah. But nowadays, many couples will put a book of poetry, by Hafiz or by Rumi, or a book of Persian mythology, which is Shahnameh, the Book of Kings. But the ceremony itself is entirely non-religious.
Nilu, can you tell me, as in the word wedding officiant, what sets your ceremonies apart from others?
Having the experience and positive feedback, I think, gives me a confidence and also helps me have a more calm approach towards my ceremonies. I think what maybe sets my ceremonies apart is finding a balance between the structure of the ceremony, but also being mindful that it's soulful, that it reflects the couple. So, I help the couple with all of the details of the ceremony, from the very beginning when everyone walks into the space, where everybody sits, all of the different rituals, who will come up to offer the different, items or objects to the couple. So all of these details, the overall structure of the ceremony, we walk through. And to kind of, touch on the soulfulness of it, I learn about the couple, their story, how they met, what the courtship was like, how the proposal happened, what they value in one another, what they want their guests to leave the ceremony with. So all of these details also to learn more about them, so I can personalize the script and make it a reflection of who they are. And the feedback, from the guests has been really very positive. I hear many times that they felt connected. And a lot of the times the guests ask me if I'm a relative of the couple or if I know them, because everything was very personable.
And what inspires you more to continue your work to make the ceremonies really personalized?
The best part of this work, my favorite part, is getting to know the couple and their story. I love that, to just be reminded that there's, people who are in love and connected, and they want to celebrate that connection and love with others. I absolutely love this part of my work.
It seems like you also need to fall in love with the couple to build the whole story, to make it personal,
it's
right?
Exactly as you say it, When I work with a couple, maybe for a year or 8 months, through all this process, and then the wedding day is there, the ceremony is there, the presentation is there. Then that night when I leave, or the next day after we, send them all of the marriage license, all the necessary documents, it's kind of like an end to that relationship. And I often kind of feel depressed a little bit. Yeah, it's like a sad, parting. Yeah. Because it was so fulfilling and touched me in such a profound way. And with many of my couples, I stay in touch, which is great. So, of course, through social media, we stay in touch. I see when they have children or when they move on in different aspects of their life. But it is, in many ways, it's a parting and it's a closure to a relationship, Yeah. So I fall in love and then I just my heart breaks.
And maybe you can share with us some memorable situations or memories from a Persian wedding you remember. Yeah. Maybe you can share some emotions.
I thought about this question when you sent it. I've done many ceremonies and weddings all over the world, and some very special and memorable places. So I was thinking, what is it that makes a wedding memorable or special? Is it like a destination wedding? Is it the setting? I've been to like a French chateau or an Italian villa, or I did a Persian ceremony on top of the hill in Mallorca. Of course, in the Northern California and beautiful, forest or Bay Area or Lake Tahoe. So is it that makes a wedding special? Or is it maybe the decor, is it over-the-top glamorous decor, or maybe it's simple and minimal? But truly what makes any wedding very special is the couple. It's really their story, it's their love, it's their chemistry that, they share with me when I meet them, when I interview them. It's the way that they look at each other when one of them is speaking. It's the way that they move, and it's in that connection and sharing of their love and their story. I think that's the most special part. And then my responsibility as a ceremony officiant is to capture all of that and present it in a way that's authentic and genuine and reflects who they are, and also to inspire their guests. The guests are there to hear about this most beautiful love story and take that with them. And hopefully it'll inspire them to notice all the love that's around them.
Thank you so much for your work.
Yeah, thank you. This is so wonderful. I appreciate this.
Yeah, so do you want to share with us some particular moments, like from your experience, like you want to tell about the association, maybe something with parents, something was going on, very emotional, and it was like from a movie.
Yeah.
Like do you remember such moments?
Yeah. So, of course, there are a lot of emotional moments, especially during the ceremony. I see fathers who walk their daughters down the aisle, and then we get at the end of the aisle, and we've already rehearsed it, the day before we practiced it. They get to the end, and they just don't want to let go. They hold on to the bride's hand, and they just can't let go. I do remember seeing once a father that just held on to his daughter's hand, and I kept kind of saying like this, and he just couldn't let go, and then he dropped his head onto the hands and started crying. So there are moments like this that I remember. Some of the best moments are, of course, during the reception, the dancing. I love the parent dancing. You know, if the couple is lucky to have their parents there at this event, then some of the parent dances I've seen are a lot of fun. And Iranians tend to choose songs that are very upbeat and, you know, very festive. So they dance with their parents that way, as opposed to doing a slow dance. That's a little more formal, maybe. I've liked that a lot. You know, Persian weddings are very much focused on the festivities and the partying into the night. So it's great to see that. It's great to have that as part of my work, and, you know, be involved with this beauty and festivity and celebration so often. It reminds me of how wonderful our world is and how, you know, we have to take all these advantages in our life to celebrate.
Wow, that's a job full of happiness, I would say.
Yes.
And beauty.
Yes, certainly, yes.
Thank you so much, Nilou.
Oh, thank you. This is so wonderful.
Thank you for coming, and I enjoyed this interview so much.
Me too.
Thank you for the knowledge about Persian culture and traditions and how to implement that all in a wedding.
Yes,
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much for this
Thank you.
opportunity. I appreciate it. And your team too. Thank you, everyone. And thank you to our viewers and listeners.
See you in the next episode. Bye. When you want more than just moments captured, when you want the artistry, the emotion, the magic, Dreamwood Films is the team for you. Click the link below this video and fill out the form to book your free consultation. Plus, we will gift you a complimentary engagement session with us anywhere in the United States or worldwide. It's the perfect way to meet us and experience the difference of working with true cinematic storytellers.